Sell me to the fattest, ugliest human, alien girl begged. Her sister was starved. Sci-Fi HFY story. The trade station drifted slowly around a red star that was close to death. Its light was weak and angry, painting the metal halls in dull crimson. People across the galaxy knew this place, though few spoke its name aloud. It was where unwanted lives were sold, traded, and forgotten. Inside the central market ring, noise echoed without rest. Creatures of many kinds shouted prices. Metal cages hovered above the floor, each holding someone who had once belonged to a home. Guards watched with cold eyes, hands near their weapons. In one of the lowest rings knelt a young alien girl named Lyra. Her skin was pale blue, cracked in places from dehydration. Her long ears drooped and her breathing was shallow. Beside her lay her sister, Vale, smaller and much thinner. Vale did not move except for a faint rise and fall of her chest. A shock collar rested around each of their necks, glowing softly, waiting to punish any sign of resistance. Lyra kept her head high even as her knees shook. She had learned that looking weak only brought pain faster. Still, fear pressed heavy inside her chest. Vale had not eaten properly in days. The traders said food cost extra. Everything cost extra. A tall broker with gray scales and gold rings on his fingers stepped forward. His voice carried across the ring. "These two come from a quiet border world," he said. "Low strength, high obedience. One adult, one juvenile. Sold together or separately if the price is right." Lyra's hands clenched. Separately meant death, or worse, the crowd murmured. Eyes scanned the sisters like objects on a shelf. Some laughed, some whispered. No one showed care. Vale stirred and let out a weak sound. Lyra leaned closer, lowering her voice. "Stay awake," she whispered. "Please." Vale's eyes opened just a little. Fear flickered there, then faded again. The broker frowned. "The smaller one is failing. If she dies, that is not my problem." Pain burned through Lyra's chest. She lifted her head and spoke before fear could stop her. "Please," she said. Her voice was hoarse but clear. "I will work. I will do anything, just give her food." The broker laughed. "That is what buyers decide, not you." A guard stepped closer, raising his shock rod. Lyra fell silent, heart pounding. The auction continued. Prices were called. Buyers lost interest quickly. 6 slaves were bad investments. Lyra felt time slipping away. She looked out at the crowd, searching for anything, anyone. That was when she saw him. He stood apart from the others. He was human. Humans were rare here. Most stayed away from places like this, or so the stories said. This one was large, with broad shoulders and a heavy build. His clothes were plain and worn. His face was rough, marked with old scars. His hair was dark and uneven, his eyes tired. He did not smile. He did not shout prices. He only watched. Something about him made Lyra's breath catch. He was not beautiful, not powerful in the way warriors were. He looked like someone life had already beaten many times. The broker noticed her stare and followed it. "Oh," he said with interest. "You see a buyer." Lyra's heart raced. She remembered stories whispered among prisoners. Stories of humans who fought empires, who broke rules, who burned their own profits to save strangers. Other stories said humans were cruel, unpredictable monsters behind smiles. But one thing was always the same. Humans were honest in their actions. The broker leaned down. "Well, speak. Buyers like confidence." Lyra swallowed. Her next words would shape everything. She lifted her chin and spoke loudly enough for the ring to hear. "Sell me," she said, "to the fattest, ugliest human you have." The market fell silent. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Then laughter burst out, sharp and mocking. Some thought it was a joke. Others looked offended. The broker stared at her in shock, then smiled slowly. "That," he said, "is a first." The human's head turned slightly. His eyes met Lyra's. He did not laugh. He looked confused, then thoughtful. The broker clapped his hands. "You heard her. Human buyer, do you accept?" The human stepped forward. The floor lights reflected off his boots. He stopped just outside the ring. "How much?" he asked. His voice was low, calm, and very human. The broker named a price. High, considering their condition. The human did not argue. He transferred the credits without hesitation. Chains unlocked. Guards pulled Lyra and Vale to their feet. Lyra's heart pounded. She had chosen without knowing why, driven by instinct and desperation. Now there was no turning back. As they were led away, she glanced back at the ring. Other prisoners watched with hollow eyes. Some looked hopeful, some looked afraid. The human followed silently. They moved through narrow corridors away from the noise. Vale sagged against Lyra, barely conscious. Lyra feared every step might be her last. They reached a docking bay. A small cargo ship waited, its hull scratched and dull. No bright markings, no pride. Inside, the air was cool and clean. The guards shoved them forward. "Your property," one said to the human. "No refunds." The human nodded. He waited until the guards left. The bay doors sealed shut. For a long moment, nothing happened. Lyra stood frozen, every muscle tight. She waited for orders, for pain. Instead, the human walked past them. He went to a wall panel and pressed a button. The shock collars fell open and dropped to the floor. Lyra gasped. Before she could react, small drones floated from the ceiling. One scanned Vale, lights flickering. "Severe malnutrition," a soft mechanical voice said. "Immediate care required." The human knelt beside Vale. His movements were slow, careful. "Get her to the med table," he said. Lyra did not move. He looked up at her. His eyes were steady, not cruel. "She needs help," he said. "Now." Lyra's body moved before her mind could question it. She helped lift Vale onto the table. The drones began working, attaching lines, releasing nutrients. Vale groaned softly. Lyra felt tears burn her eyes. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you doing this?" The human stood. "Because she's dying." "That's not an answer." He paused, then said, "It's enough of one." He handed Lyra a container. Inside was food. "Warm, real. Eat," he said. She stared at it, hands shaking. Poison was common, tricks were common. He sat on a crate across from her, turned his head away, and began checking a datapad. Minutes passed. Finally, hunger won. Lyra ate. Nothing happened. The ship vibrated softly as engines powered up. On the med table, Vale's breathing grew stronger. Lyra watched the human from the corner of her eye. "What is your name?" she asked quietly. "Bram," he said. She nodded. "I am Lyra. That is my sister, Vale." "I know, you paid a lot for us." "Yes." "Why?" He looked at her again. "You asked for a human." "Yes, but why you?" A shadow crossed his face. "Because I was there." Silence filled the ship. An alarm chimed softly. Bram glanced at the console. "They noticed," he said. Lyra's stomach dropped. "Who?" "The ones who sold you." The ship lifted, breaking free from the station. Through a small viewport, Lyra saw lights spinning, shrinking. "What happens now?" she asked. Bram strapped himself into the pilot's seat. "Now," he said, "we run." The ship jumped into darkness. Behind them, on the dying station, a bounty signal began to spread across the stars. Darkness wrapped around the ship as it slipped out of folded space. The jump ended with a low tremor that ran through the metal walls. Lights flickered once, then steadied. The ship was small, old, and quiet, nothing like the massive slaver carriers Lyra had seen before. Lyra sat near the med table, watching Vale sleep. Tubes still fed nutrients into her sister's thin arms, but her color had improved. Each calm breath felt like a small miracle. Bram moved around the cockpit with steady purpose. He checked screens, adjusted controls, and listened to soft signals only he seemed to understand. He did not look back at them. Lyra's fear did not fade. Kindness was rare in the galaxy. When it appeared, it often hid something sharp beneath it. She stood slowly and took a few careful steps toward him. Her legs still felt weak. "You removed the collars," she said. "Most buyers do not do that." Bram did not turn. "Most buyers aren't me." "That doesn't explain it." He exhaled, then faced her. "You want explanations already?" "Yes." "Fair." He leaned against a console. You and your sister weren't inventory to me. You were people in trouble. Lyra studied his face, searching for signs of mockery. She found none, only tired honesty. Humans don't go to places like that, she said. The market. Some of us do, he replied, to clean messes others pretend not to see. Are you a rescuer? He almost smiled but stopped himself. I'm a runner. I move things quietly. Sometimes those things are people. Lyra absorbed this in silence. A soft chime echoed through the ship. Bram turned back to his screens. They've tagged us, he said. Lyra's heart jumped. Already? They're efficient when money is involved. On one of the displays, red marks appeared. 3, then 4. Ships, she asked. Hunters, Bram said. Contract crews, they don't care who you are, only what you're worth. He tapped commands fast. The ship angled sharply, engines whining. Lyra grabbed a rail as gravity shifted. Can they catch us? If I make mistakes, he said. Yes. The ship darted between drifting rocks, the remains of some long-dead moon. Sensors screamed warnings. Bram ignored them, eyes locked forward. Behind them, energy fire lit the darkness. A bolt skimmed past the hull, rocking the ship. Vale stirred. Lyra. I'm here, Lyra said quickly, rushing back to her sister's side. You're safe. Vale's eyes fluttered open. She looked around, confused. Where are we? With a human, Lyra said softly. Vale tensed. Fear filled her gaze. Did we fail? No, Lyra said. We survived. Another impact shook the ship. Bram's voice came sharp and loud. Hold on. The ship plunged into a dense cloud of charged gas. Sensors went blind. Lights dimmed. Static crackled through the air. For several long seconds there was nothing but shaking and noise. Then silence. Bram eased the ship to a stop. He waited, listening. The red marks vanished. They won't follow us in there, he said. Too risky. Lyra let out a breath she did not realize she was holding. Vale tried to sit up. My head hurts. That means you're alive, Bram said, glancing back. Good sign. Vale stared at him. You're not what I expected. Most people say that. The ship drifted quietly. Outside, glowing clouds rolled like slow storms. Bram left the cockpit and approached the sisters. He knelt again, checking Vale's readings. She'll need rest, he said, and real food, not packets. Lyra nodded. We can work clean, fix things. Bram shook his head. No debts like that. Lyra frowned. Then why take us? He hesitated. Because someone should, he said. Lyra felt something shift inside her. Not trust, not yet, but something close. They moved to a small cabin. Bram showed them where to sleep. Real beds, narrow but clean. Before leaving, he placed a small device on the table. If you need me, he said, press that. After he left, Lyra sat beside Vale, listening to the hum of the ship. Lyra, Vale whispered, why did you choose him? Lyra thought back to the market. The eyes that did not hunger, the body that did not boast. Because he looked real, she said. Vale closed her eyes again. Time passed. Lyra did not sleep. She watched the door, waiting for the truth to reveal itself. Hours later, alarms sounded again. This time different. Bram's voice came through the cabin speaker. We have a problem. Lyra hurried out. The cockpit screens glowed with warning signals. What now? She asked. Someone sent a deep scan pulse, Bram said. Not a hunter. Who then? He looked at her carefully. Someone who knows exactly what they're looking for. Vale stepped forward, pale but steady. They're looking for me. Bram turned sharply. What? Vale swallowed. Lyra doesn't know. I didn't want to tell her. Lyra stared at her sister. Tell me what? Vale met her eyes. I carry something. Bram folded his arms. What kind of something? A map, Vale said. But not on paper, in me. The ship shook lightly as another scan wave passed. A living archive, Bram said slowly. That's not small trouble. They killed our world for it, Vale whispered. Everyone. We ran. They caught us. Lyra felt the floor drop away beneath her. Vale. I'm sorry, Vale said. I was afraid. Bram turned back to the screens. More signals appeared, not close but coming. They won't stop, he said. Not now. Then leave us, Lyra said quickly. Save yourself. He looked at her, surprised, then annoyed. No. You don't owe us anything." "That's where you're wrong," he said. "I bought you," Lyra stiffened. "Not as slaves," he added, "as responsibility." Another tremor ran through the ship. Bram straightened. "We can't outrun what's coming, not forever." "Then what do we do?" Lyra asked. He hesitated, then reached for an old panel. He flipped a guarded switch. A red light blinked to life. "We ask for help," he said. Vale's eyes widened. "From who?" Bram's voice was quiet. "From humans who don't ask permission." He sent a signal. Old, simple, powerful. Across the darkness, something heard it. Far away, engines began to wake. Lyra watched the stars, her fate no longer small, no longer hidden. And for the first time since the market, fear mixed with hope. The ship drifted in silence after the signal was sent. Bram locked the panel and leaned back in his seat, eyes fixed on the dark space ahead. The red light continued to blink, slow and steady, like a heartbeat. Lyra stood near the cockpit doorway, arms wrapped around herself. Vale sat in a padded chair, thin fingers gripping the sides. The truth Vale had revealed weighed heavily in the air. "A living map," Lyra said quietly. "Inside you," Vale nodded. "They put it there when I was small. I didn't understand then. I still don't understand all of it now." Lyra felt a mix of fear and guilt. She had sworn to protect her sister, yet she had never known what danger Vale truly carried. "Why didn't you tell me?" Lyra asked. Vale lowered her eyes. "Because every time someone finds out, people die." Bram listened without interrupting. He had heard stories like this before, though few ended well. "What does the map lead to?" he asked. Vale hesitated. "Safe places, worlds hidden from empires. Old shelters built by races that no longer exist." Lyra's breath caught. "Refuge worlds, yes." Bram let out a slow breath. "That explains the scans." Before anyone could speak again, the ship jolted. Not an impact, but a pressure wave. The lights dimmed, then returned. "Another pulse," Bram said, checking the screens. Stronger shapes appeared on the display. Large ones, too large for bounty hunters. Lyra stepped closer. "Who are they?" Bram's jaw tightened. "Not the market syndicate. This is military grade." Vale's hands began to shake. "They found us." "Not yet," Bram said, "but they're narrowing it down." The ship's sensors screamed again. A sharp tone cut through the cockpit. "Jamming field," Bram muttered. "They're locking the area." Lyra felt panic rise. "Can we hide again?" "Not this time." The gas cloud around them began to glow as energy fields activated nearby. The hiding place was becoming a trap. Bram stood and moved to a storage locker. He pulled out a worn jacket and slipped it on. Then he opened another locker and removed a small case. Inside were weapons. Not large, not flashy, but carefully maintained. Lyra stared. "You said you were a runner." "I am," Bram said, "but I didn't always run." Vale watched him closely. "You were military." He did not deny it. "A long time ago." The ship shook again. A voice cut through the static, calm and cold. "Unidentified vessel," it said. "Power down and prepare to be boarded." Lyra's heart pounded. "What happens if they board us?" Bram looked at Vale. "They take her, they erase you, and they make sure I never leave this sector." Vale stood up despite her weakness. "Then don't let them take me." Bram met her gaze. "I won't." Another voice joined the transmission, sharper, impatient. "This is your final warning." Bram muted the channel. "We don't have much time." Lyra stepped forward. "You said humans don't abandon people who ask for help." "I did." "Then why do you look like you're about to lose?" He gave a short, humorless smile. "Because believing something doesn't mean it's easy." He returned to the controls and pushed the engines hard. The ship surged forward, breaking through the edge of the jamming field. Energy beams flashed past, tearing through the glowing gas. Alarms screamed. The hull groaned. Bram maneuvered with sharp movements, dodging debris and fire. Sweat formed on his brow. "They're faster," Lyra said. "Yes, they'll catch us." "Yes." Vale closed her eyes. Her voice was steady when she spoke. "Then listen to me." Bram glanced back. "This is not the time." "Yes, it is," Vale said. "The map isn't just places, it's access codes, paths." I can open something. Lyra turned to her. What are you saying? I can guide us, Vale said, but only once. Bram slowed slightly. Guide us where? Vale opened her eyes. They glowed faintly, lines of light tracing under her skin. Somewhere they can't follow. Bram stared at her, then at the closing enemy ships on the screen. Do it, he said. Vale nodded. She reached out, placing her hand on the central console. The ship systems flickered wildly. Coordinates appeared, not standard. Old symbols filled the display. This route shouldn't exist, Bram said. It doesn't, Vale replied. That's why it works. The ship lurched violently as Bram engaged the drive. Space twisted. Light bent. Pain shot through Lyra's head as gravity seemed to turn inside out. For a moment there was nothing. Then the ship slammed back into normal space. Silence followed. Outside the viewport was emptiness. No stars, no signals, just darkness. Bram's hands trembled slightly as he pulled back from the controls. We made it. Lyra collapsed into a chair, breathing hard. Where are we? Vale looked exhausted. The glow faded from her skin. Between places. Bram checked sensors. No pursuers, no scans, nothing. Lyra felt relief wash over her, followed quickly by fear. Is this safe? For now, Bram said. Vale slumped forward. Lyra rushed to her side. Vale, she said, talk to me. I'm okay, Vale whispered, just tired. Bram brought a blanket and helped Lyra settle Vale into a resting area. You saved us, Lyra said softly. Vale managed a weak smile. We saved each other. Hours passed. The ship remained hidden in the empty pocket. Bram stayed awake, watching instruments that showed nothing. Lyra approached him quietly. The signal you sent earlier, she said. Will they find us here? No, Bram said, but they'll know something happened. Who did you call? He hesitated. People like me. That doesn't tell me much. It's not meant to, Lyra studied him. Back at the market, I chose you because you looked ugly and heavy and tired. He raised an eyebrow. You're not selling it well, she continued. Everyone beautiful there was lying. Everyone powerful wanted something. You looked like someone who had already lost too much to lie. Bram looked away. My people trusted the wrong ones, Lyra said. They followed smiles and promises. They died for it. Silence stretched between them. You think humans are different, Bram said. I think humans are honest in their cruelty, she replied, and honest in their kindness. He considered that. We're honest about being flawed. That's enough, Lyra said. Sometimes. An alarm chimed softly. Not a warning, a message. Bram checked the signal. His expression changed. They answered, he said. Lyra's heart jumped. Who? He turned the screen so she could see. A simple symbol appeared, old, human. They heard the call. Vale stirred. Are they coming? Yes, Bram said, but they won't come quietly. What does that mean? Lyra asked. It means, Bram said slowly, once they arrive there's no hiding what you are. Vale swallowed. Then the galaxy will know. Yes. Lyra looked at her sister. Are you afraid? Vale nodded. But I'm more afraid of staying silent. Bram stood. Then we prepare. For what? Lyra asked. For humans being seen, he said. The ship's lights dimmed as power shifted. Outside, the darkness began to ripple as if space itself was moving. Something was coming, and this time it was not hunting them, it was answering them. Space around the ship grew quiet after the signal was sent. Too quiet. The glowing clouds faded behind them as Bram guided the ship into open darkness. No stars were close, no planets, just empty space and the soft hum of engines. Lyra stood near the cockpit wall, arms wrapped around herself. Vale sat strapped into a seat, her face pale but focused. Whatever she carried inside her weighed heavier than her weak body. How long, Lyra asked, before they find us again? Bram did not look away from the screens. Soon, the signal I sent will draw attention, not just from friends. Lyra nodded. She had expected that. Nothing came without cost. A warning tone sounded. New contacts appeared, not behind them this time, but ahead. Large shapes. Too many? Vale inhaled sharply. That's them. Bram's jaw tightened. Empire Patrol and something bigger behind them. The main screen shifted. A massive structure emerged from the dark. It was not a ship but a mobile weapons platform built like a floating fortress. Its surface glowed with charging energy. "They followed the archive trail," Vale whispered. "They always do." Lyra felt cold spread through her chest. "What does that thing do?" Bram answered without hesitation. "It erases problems." A transmission burst through, filling the cockpit with harsh light. An alien figure appeared, tall and smooth, wrapped in silver armor. Its voice was calm, practiced. "Human vessel," it said. "Power down and release the asset. You will not be harmed." Lyra stepped forward. "We are not an asset." The figure ignored her. "Human, you are outmatched. Do not waste lives." Bram leaned closer to the console. "You brought a planet killer for two girls." "For what they carry," the figure replied. "Yes." Vale closed her eyes. "Lyra, listen to me. If they take me, you might live." "No," Lyra said immediately. "We stay together." Bram cut in. "Enough. I won't hand anyone over." The alien's expression did not change. "Then you choose extinction." The image vanished. The weapons platform pulsed brighter. "Time estimate?" Lyra asked, her voice tight. "Less than a minute," Bram said. The ship shuddered as smaller patrol ships moved into attack positions. Vale looked at Bram. "You sent a signal. Will anyone answer?" Bram did not answer right away. He stared at the red light still blinking on the old panel. "They should," he said finally, "if anyone still listens." The first shot struck the shields. The ship lurched hard. Lyra was thrown against a wall. Bram fought the controls, keeping them steady. Another blast hit. Warning lights flashed. The shields weakened. "They're testing us," Bram muttered, "seeing how long we last." Lyra pushed herself upright. Fear screamed inside her, but anger burned hotter. "Why us?" she demanded. "Why do they care so much?" Vale opened her eyes. "Because the archive isn't just maps, it's proof." "Proof of what?" "That the galaxy doesn't belong to empires," Vale said softly. "That there are places beyond control, places meant for refugees, for the lost." Another hit shook the ship. A console sparked. "They can't allow that," Bram said. "Hope is dangerous." The weapons platform's core flared. Energy gathered, massive and deadly. "That's it," Bram said quietly. "They're firing." Lyra felt her knees weaken. She grabbed Vale's hand. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Vale squeezed back. "I'm glad we met him." The light grew blinding, then everything changed. Space tore open, not with a flash but with weight, like reality bending under pressure. One by one, shapes emerged from nothing. Human ships, old, uneven, some small, some large, all different. None polished, none uniform, dozens, then hundreds. They formed a wall between the platform and Bram's ship. Lyra stared, stunned. Bram exhaled slowly. "They heard us." Human voices flooded the channels, overlapping, calm, focused. "Civilian vessel detected. Shielding deployed. Medical team standing by." The alien patrol ships hesitated. The weapons platform paused, its charge disrupted. A new transmission filled the screen. This time a human face appeared. Older, dark-skinned, eyes sharp. "This is a human convoy," the voice said. "You are targeting protected civilians. Stand down." The alien commander appeared again. For the first time there was tension in its posture. "These beings belong to the Empire," it said. "They carry stolen property." The human leaned closer to the camera. "No one belongs to you." Behind the human ships more arrived. Freighters, med ships, defense craft. Not a military fleet but something else. Volunteers, responders. The weapons platform adjusted, targeting the new arrivals. "You will withdraw," the alien said, "or be erased." The human smiled slightly. "You can try." The battle erupted. Human ships moved with strange coordination, not rigid but adaptive. They shielded each other, absorbed hits meant for Bram's ship. Smaller craft darted forward, disabling engines instead of destroying hulls. Lyra watched in awe. "They're protecting us," she whispered. "They always do," Bram said. Explosions lit space, but the weapons platform struggled. Its systems failed one by one under focused strikes. Not lethal, precise. The alien patrol ships began to retreat. No, the alien commander hissed. Fire the core. The platform's energy spiked dangerously. The human commander's voice cut through all channels. All units redirect. Containment protocol. Human ships moved in close, forming a net of energy fields around the platform. The blast fired, but instead of spreading, it collapsed inward, contained. The platform went dark. Silence followed. The alien ships fled. Lyra felt her breath return. Her legs finally gave out and she sank to the floor. Vale laughed weakly. They didn't destroy it. Bram nodded. Humans don't need to, we just stop the harm. A human shuttle docked with Bram's ship. The airlock opened. Medics stepped inside, moving quickly toward Vale. Another human entered last. The same older one from the screen. He looked at Bram. You're late again. Bram smiled faintly. Traffic. The man turned to Lyra, his voice softened. You're safe now. Lyra stared at the humans filling the ship. Ordinary, scarred, different. None looked like heroes from stories, yet they had crossed the stars for strangers. Why? Lyra asked again, tears slipping down her face. Do you do this? The man answered simply. Because someone once did it for us. Vale was placed on a stretcher. The medics worked gently, speaking calmly. She'll live, one said. Lyra felt something break open inside her, relief, gratitude, something close to belief. Outside, the human fleet held position, guarding the darkness. For the first time since their world burned, the sisters were not running, and the galaxy had just learned a dangerous truth. Humans were no longer hiding. The ship drifted in silence after the signal was sent. The old panel Bram had used went dark again, as if it had never been touched. Lyra stood near the cockpit window, arms wrapped around herself, watching the distant stars slide slowly past. Who did you call? She asked. Bram stayed seated, eyes forward. People who listen when things go bad. That is not an answer, he nodded. Fair, it was a human distress code, old, not used by governments, not used by traders, only by those who walk away from both. Vale leaned against the doorway, weak but awake. Will they come? They always do, Bram said. Eventually. Lyra felt unease twist inside her. And if they do, then we keep moving, he replied, until we can't. The ship shuddered lightly. Another scan wave passed nearby, closer this time. They are narrowing it down, Bram said. We don't have much time. Lyra turned to Vale. You said they destroyed our world because of what you carry. Vale lowered her head. They said knowledge belongs to power. That hiding it was a crime. What kind of knowledge? Lyra asked. Vale took a breath. Paths, safe places, worlds built to hide people during old wars, places that still exist. Bram finally turned fully toward them. Refuge worlds, he said quietly. Vale nodded. Many species worked together long ago. They knew empires rise and fall. They wanted something that would last. And you are the key, Lyra whispered. Vale's eyes filled with tears. I never wanted this. Lyra stepped forward and held her sister's hands. You survived. That matters. Another alarm sounded. This one was different, low, steady. Bram looked at the screen and frowned. That's not hunters. What is it? Lyra asked. A patrol fleet, he said. Empire grade. Lyra felt cold spread through her chest. They will take Vale. Yes, Bram said, and wipe my ship from the records. The dots on the screen multiplied, clean formation, disciplined. We can't fight that, Lyra said. No, Bram agreed, but we can slow them. He stood and walked to a locked cabinet. He opened it and removed a small metal case. I hoped I'd never use this again, he muttered. Inside were old military tools, not new, not powerful, but real. What are you doing? Lyra asked. Buying time, he said. The ship lurched as Bram changed course sharply, diving toward a nearby debris field. Broken station parts and frozen wrecks spun slowly in the dark. Empire ships followed, careful but relentless. Energy fire flashed. One shot clipped the ship's side. Sparks flew. Gravity wavered. Vale cried out and fell. Lyra grabbed her. Stay with me, Lyra said. Bram's voice was tight. If I fail, you run. The escape pod will auto-launch. No, Lyra said. We stay together. He did not argue. He focused. The debris field thickened. Sensors screamed. Bram flew by instinct, not instruments. Then the human signal answered. A single pulse. Close. Bram's eyes widened. Space folded. Ships appeared where nothing had been a moment before. They were not beautiful. Their hulls were patched, mismatched, painted with old symbols and names scratched by hand. But they were many. The Empire fleet hesitated. A voice filled the channel, calm, human. This vessel is under our protection, it said. You are trespassing. The Empire ships powered weapons. The human fleet moved without orders spoken. They formed a wall. The first shot came from the Empire. The humans answered. Space exploded into light and motion. Not wild, not cruel, precise. Human ships took hits meant for Bram's vessel. Shields flared, hulls burned, they did not retreat. Lyra watched in awe. They're protecting us. Bram nodded once. That's what we do. The battle was short but fierce. The Empire ships, unused to resistance without negotiation, pulled back. One by one, they jumped away. Silence returned. The human ships remained. A channel opened. Runner Bram, the voice said, you're late checking in. Bram smiled for the first time. Got delayed. A smaller ship detached and approached. Medical markings glowed softly. Bring the girls, the voice said. Let's get them safe. Lyra felt her knees weaken. Safe. The word felt unreal. They transferred ships. Vale was placed under careful care by human medics. No chains, no questions. Lyra stood in a wide observation room watching stars move again. A woman approached her. Human. Short hair, calm eyes. You chose us, the woman said. That takes courage. Lyra shook her head. I chose ugly and honest. The woman laughed softly. That sounds like us. Days passed. They reached a hidden world, green, quiet, protected. Vale grew stronger. She began to speak with human scholars, sharing the paths only she could see. Lyra watched humans work. They argued, they joked, they cared. Bram visited once before leaving again. You did good, he told Lyra. So did you, she said. He shrugged. Just doing what someone once did for me. As the ship left, Lyra looked up at the sky. The galaxy was still dangerous, still cruel, but now she knew something else. Humans were out there, listening.